west of Seneca, Missouri.
Now at 10, we have more showers and thunderstorms increasing across the region. We're going to look at that.
Plus, we're going to hear from some Oklahomans who are cleaning up after a tornado tore through their town, and how a bill in Kansas would allow students more freedom to go to different schools.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The ground is saturated, the rivers are rising, and some of us are getting more rain. This is KOAM News at 10. Let's go straight to Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, we got more showers. We got more thunderstorms, which are picking up, and these are going to roll across the region as we go through the overnight hours tonight. The heaviest by far is going to be in southwestern Missouri, but you can see them flaring up again over the past couple hours and then trailing back into northeastern Oklahoma. A little bit lighter once you get on the Kansas side. These are a little bit more robust across southwestern parts of Missouri. So they are going to drop some heavy amounts of rain, Delaware County, Ottawa, and then into McDonald County, southern parts of Newton, eastern Newton, Berry, Lawrence counties, and these will stretch up into the metro as well as we go through the overnight hours. Scattered, more light activity back across southeastern parts of Kansas, but you can see through time, scattered thunderstorms continue over the next few hours. Then things will start to wind down a little bit late tonight. Of course, we're going to look at what's coming next here in just a bit.
Yeah, then in McDonald County, Missouri, floodwaters have crept into Big Elk's floats and camping near Pineville. Campsite's Facebook page says there won't be any camping in the A or B sections this weekend because of the high water. One resident near there was forced to evacuate.
3 hours time, it went from in the grass just underneath my deck to 4 steps up to my deck, up my stairs to my deck. So I'm within 3 feet from inside my house.
It's a similar scene in parts of southeast Kansas. In some cases, there might not be barriers warning drivers. Even roads that might seem passable can be dangerous in conditions like this. If in doubt, as always, the advice is go around, don't drown. And it's not just flooding. Some trees were broken in Joplin, possibly from the high winds of the microburst. And whenever the ground is as soggy as it is right now, the risk climbs that trees could be uprooted. City of Joplin is opening a site for residents to dispose of tree limbs brought down by storms. The drop-off site is at 1702 North Schifferdecker Avenue. The site will be open this weekend, May 6th and 7th, from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Drop-offs will close Sunday and open back up on Monday, May 9th through Saturday, May 14th. It'll then reopen the next Friday and Saturday, May 20th and 21st. Millions of people in the southern U.S. are facing a new tornado threat from the same storm system that unleashed an outbreak across Oklahoma yesterday. Reporter Jen Sullivan has the latest.
Tornadoes touching down in Texas.
Trees down, debris in the air. Definitely knew there was trouble.
One day after passive destruction were torn through Oklahoma, the decimation of a marijuana farm caught on camera as a twister rips through, tearing buildings to shreds.
Man, just a lot of destruction happening right now.
It sounded like a train, and we could also hear things just slamming against the walls, like, metal, glass, things like that. And then when we opened the door to come out, and the entire roof was gone. Everything other than where we were is just gone.
The city of Seminole is now asking people to conserve water while the power is out. Survivors say they're just thankful to be alive.
He spared our house, and he spared our dogs, and he spared us.
The storm also bringing with it relentless rains that saturated Okmulgee County, triggering flooding in life-saving water rescues.
The water was so damaging that it lifted the truck up, drifted us off to the side of the creek, and thanks to the pole and the metal wiring, saved us. So it kind of kept us from drifting way out there and far and beyond.
How long were you guys trapped there?
For like hours, more than 2 hours.
I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
There have been no reported deaths caused by those tornadoes in Oklahoma. Kansas school students could soon transfer to any public school in the state, even if they aren't a resident in that district. And some local districts already allow that. Under a mega bill that Governor Kelly is expected to sign, open enrollment could start in Kansas in 2024. In southeast Kansas, Columbus Superintendent Brian Smith says they already accept out-of-district students. He says he's seen it in other southeast Kansas schools as well.
Now, when I was in Galena and superintendent there, we had quite a few out-of-district students because they were only 13.5 square miles. So they were close to all their neighbors, where we're 354 square miles here in Columbus.
Schools do have the option to deny students due to a history of suspensions or expulsions. And under the bill, school districts are not required to provide transportation to non-resident students. Even with all the rain today, some folks found time for a little fun. The Spring Carnival has been going on at Joplin's North Park Mall. All the rides and foods you expect open today. It closed at 10 tonight, but it's going to run until the 15th. So if you missed out today, you do still have plenty of chances. Today is the National Day of Prayer. It's an annual day of observance designated by Congress in 1952. To celebrate, First Baptist Church in Webb City hosted its annual Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. Many people gathered to have breakfast and prayer for the city and nation. People met again at noon around the Praying Hands for an informal time of prayer. Coming up, how the U.S. Energy Department plans the nation's oil reserves. Plus, fluctuations on the stock market after interest rates are raised. The U.S. Energy Department is expected to announce a buyback plan where the government would seek bids to buy 60 million barrels of crude oil. It's an effort to replenish our country's emergency oil reserve. It would be the first time since the early 2000s that the Energy Department has acquired large quantities of oil for the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. The stockpile has been drained by the war in Ukraine and sales mandated by Congress to raise revenue. A new survey shows the next crop of college graduates have some unrealistic expectations about their first job. As millions prepare to walk across the stage at commencement, the survey shows they may not be ready for the real world. The survey by Real Estate Witch shows students expect to make six figures at their first job when the reality is half of that. Wall Street suffered its worst day of the year as stocks cratered on worries about the economy. Reporter Bradley Blackburn looks at how Americans are handling the shaky stock market and uncertain economic days ahead.
Inflation, rising interest rates, and fears of a looming recession made the perfect recipe for Thursday's market sell-off. By the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average plunged more than 1,000 points, or over 3%.
I think it's still a sign that inflation is out of control and people need to handle it.
From Main Street to Wall Street, investors worry the Federal Reserve's efforts to tamp down inflation by raising interest rates might slow the economy too much.
We are uncertain about what inflation is going to do, what the Fed is going to do in reaction to inflation.
Every day, Americans are feeling the pinch of inflation as they shell out more for a long list of essential items. Since March 2021, the cost of food, energy, and gas have all seen major increases.
I have a truck now that has 200 gallons, 250 gallons of fuel. I put $1,000 into it and didn't fill it up.
Investor Fred Clare says he's riding out Wall Street's daily roller coaster ride, but recently seeing more dips than jumps in his 401k.
I've lost like maybe $30,000 in the market. So at this point, I might as well just let it sit there.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says Americans concerned about their nest egg might avoid a short-term approach.
Most of us are saving for long-term goals like retirement or college, likely years or decades in the future. Hopefully, those who are already retired didn't have as much risk in the stock market.
According to Schlesinger, if you sell your stocks now, you're timing the market. And that, she says, rarely works. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Just yesterday, stocks made their biggest gains since 2020, even after the Federal Reserve raised interest rates by 0.5 percentage point. The FDA announced some strict limits on Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine, weighing benefits and risks for some people. The agency is limiting the emergency use authorization of the vaccine to adults for whom other vaccines aren't appropriate or accessible. Officials say the move is due to the risk of an extremely rare but dangerous blood clotting condition associated with that vaccine. A little bit later, how a Kansas event is shining a spotlight on some area counties.
Plus, more thunderstorms are rolling through the region for us tonight. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, it turned out to be a little bit on the wet side once again for us today. Periods of showers, thunderstorms across the region. You can see our amounts of rain since midnight, 1.5 inches. Of course, we had very heavy amounts of rain prior to that. Today's May 5th. At the airport in Joplin, we're almost at 6 inches. Some people are at 10 or 12 so far this month. For the year, we're sitting a little over 19 inches of rain. Of course, this is why we have all the flood warnings across the region, and that is a concern because the creeks, rivers, streams are actually still rising. They usually rise still a good 12 to 24 hours after the rain stops. And look at southwestern Missouri. All of this on average is 6 to 10 inches. This is kind of 4 to 8 inches. Even the yellow areas that saw the least amount of rain, this is just over the past 36 hours, is still kind of sitting in that 2 to 4 inch range. Showers, thunderstorms increasing again across southwestern Missouri over the past couple hours. It's a much lighter on the Kansas side and a little bit in northeastern Oklahoma, but we still have these scattered thunderstorms as we go through the overnight hours tonight. So these stretch here's Berry County, Cassville, Monetta, Roy, Mount Vernon, Neosho, Granby, Pineville, Knoll, Anderson. These are moving up into Jasper County, eastern parts of Jasper County. Let's go into Oklahoma, Miami, Commerce, over towards Chatopa, South Coffeyville, Independence. These stretch up near Fredonia, Yates Center, Chanute, Iola. All these are lifting kind of northeast. They are fairly light. We don't have to worry about much in the way of severe weather, but we just need to dry out. Scattered thunderstorms continue the next several hours, especially on the Missouri side, and then all this will start to taper off a little bit later on tonight and into the morning hours. Kansas side, your rain is coming to an end, maybe another 2/10 of an inch. Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, 1/2 inch in spots, 3/4 of an inch of additional rain on top of what we have already seen. Our western counties are dropping down into the 50s, still sitting lower 60s, southwestern Missouri, and you can see this storm system wrapping up, heading off toward the east. We have this system that will stay across the northern plains, but besides that, we're looking pretty good. As we go through the next few days, we get a chance to really dry out. Now tomorrow, we start the day with a lot of clouds. We could still see an isolated shower popping up throughout the day, but most of us look pretty good. We get some sunshine back. We start at 50, 61 by noon. High temp is 66. Let's go into tomorrow night's Friday evening. We look fine, clear skies. We drop back, lower 50s. Heading into the weekend, if you want to get outside, do some yard work. If we get rid of some of that water, temperatures look great, pushing 80 by the time we head into Saturday afternoon. 66 tomorrow, 80 on Saturday, 86 Sunday, 87 on Monday. Of course, Sunday is Mother's Day. Don't forget about moms. They don't like that. Temperatures upper 80s through most of next week. I'm going to keep it dry. We really don't have any chances for thunderstorms until late next week, next weekend. That's when we'll start to get those severe chances returning into the forecast.
And you're talking about yard work, but it's going to take a lot of yards a few days so they're not spongy to walk on.
Yeah, no kidding.
Thanks, Doug. Let's take a look at our tower camera sponsored by R.E. Smith Construction as work continues on the KOAM More Power project. You can check it out anytime on our website. It's koamnewsnow.com/power. Some people in Kansas are traveling around our part of the state for the Big Kansas Road Trip. It's an annual event to highlight different counties in the state and everything they have to offer. And this year, the spotlight is on Bourbon, Cherokee, and Crawford counties. KOAM's Ty Parks went along on the journey.
The Big Kansas Road Trip idea is to get people all over 3 counties. It's sort of adventure a la carte, open. It's an open house for the 3 counties, and people get to go where they want, when they want, and we all see each other all over the place, and it's a lot of fun. So the idea is to help people see a part of the state that they don't know, and to spend some money, support the local economy, and just really get to know Kansas. For 30 years, we've done Kansas guidebooks, have a Kansas Explorers Club, and we just continually try to pump the Kansas story out there that every town has something. From the explorer point of view, maybe rather than the traditional tourist point of view, but from the Explorer point of view, those brick cylindrical water towers in Weir and Cherokee are something to go out of the way for if you have the Explorer spirit.
Well, you know, we've actually gone every year since they've done it, since 2018, and something that my family and I do every year. I'm a teacher full-time, so I take off a few days so we can come explore Kansas. We have a 3- and a 5-year-old, and we want to show them that Kansas has so much to do and see. It's just get off the main roads, go do something fun, and don't be like, oh, it has to be some big and fancy thing. It's okay if it's a monument in a cemetery, just something that gets you off the road and just open yourself up. That's what I would say is we're unique and rural, and I think no other state has what we have when it comes to unique and rural.
The road trip runs through the weekend. Still ahead, Missouri Southern softball hits the field against a nationally ranked opponent in the first round of the MIAA tournament. And a former Pitt State standout prepares to begin his NFL career with the Indianapolis Colts. Jacob Leonard has that and more coming up.
Well, the MIAA released its all-conference baseball awards this afternoon. 9 from Missouri Southern and 7 from Pittsburgh State earned all MIAA honors today. Leading the way for Pittsburgh State, this dude right here, Garrett McGowan. He's a first-team all MIAA selection and made the MIAA Gold Glove team at first base. McGowan hit .410 this spring with 19 doubles and 16 home runs. He tied for the MIAA lead with 75 RBIs in 47 games. As for Missouri Southern, pitcher Logan Van Wy is a unanimous first-team All-MIAA pick. He led the conference in strikeouts with 113 in 75 innings of work. Now, 8 other Lions joined him on the all-conference list. Check out a full list of All-MIAA selections for both Missouri Southern and Pittsburgh State on the sports page at KOAMNewsNow.com. Well, speaking of Pitt State and Missouri Southern baseball, the two teams will meet tomorrow night in the first round of the MIAA tournament. Danny Terzer catches up with the Gorillas and Lions to talk about their first round rivalry matchup.
After 3 months and 50 games, it's time for postseason baseball, and everyone has something to prove.
We're ready to show that we're one of the most dangerous teams in this conference and we can go as deep as anyone else.
Missouri Southern travels to Pittsburgh State for a best-of-3 series.
Everybody's excited. You show up in August and you have your first meeting and everybody's looking for this opportunity.
These two teams are pretty similar to power-hitting offenses, and both will look to their pitching staffs to give them the edge.
We need to throw strikes, first of all, and we need to get some big outs from our bullpen, and we've kind of hopefully prepared our guys for that. They're a really good offensive club. I feel like the winner of the series will be the team that can get the most out of their bullpen.
You know, we really haven't hit a bunch of home runs as of late, so we've kind of changed a little bit, and we've moved the baseball around a little bit. Been able to steal some bases lately, but they got a lot of juice in that lineup, and we're going to have to pitch really well, and we're going to have to do all the little things well to have a chance to win.
Pitt State won the regular season series in February, 2-1. 2 months later, the matchup looks different.
We know that we can catch fire whenever we feel good, you know, and our offense is just, I don't think there's a single guy on our offense that lacks any confidence at all. We're all ready to go, and we're all ready to swing the bat.
Hopefully Tommy will be in there for all 3 games, which adds a little dynamic to our offense that maybe we've lacked at times. And, you know, he has a chance to hit the ball up against the fence or out of the park, which, you know, not everybody does. But, you know, we got to limit our strikeouts and put pressure on them and score when we get a chance to do so, because we know that offensively they're going to be hard to hold down as well.
The Gorillas have won 6 of their last 7 games, and it's earned them home field advantage.
We're playing great team ball. It's not 1 through 3 in the lineup. It's 1 through 9, and then it's the guys out of the pen, and it's our starters doing a really good job of giving us a chance to win the game at the end of the game. Danny
Terzer, KOAM Sports.
A first pitch for Game 1 of the Pitt State-Missouri Southern series will be at 6 p.m. tomorrow night. On the softball side, Missouri Southern opens the conference tournament tonight, facing 6th-ranked Rogers State in Edmond, Oklahoma. Now, the Lions got a 1-0 lead in the 6th, but Rogers State wins on a 2-run walk-off double in the 7th. Southern will now face elimination tomorrow afternoon at 1:30. Well, former Pittsburgh State cornerback Dallas Flowers has earned his shot at the NFL. Flowers has signed as an undrafted free agent with the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Flowers It's a first-team All-MIAA selection for Pitt State last fall and a second-team All-Conference pick as a kick returner. He had 21 tackles and a team-high 4 interceptions. Also had 2 kick return touchdowns. Now, despite going undrafted, Flowers knows what he can do and is excited about the opportunity to show it when training camp begins next week.
All I got to do is just come in and ready to work and just showcase my skills and talent. I mean, I'm blessed to make it this far. I believe God didn't put me in this situation, all the adversity that I had to deal with through my life and college, stuff like that, for no reason. So, I mean, I'm going to just take this opportunity and run with it.
And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.